Welcome everyone to the 2025 Nissan Murano. We are here in this platinum trim, and we're gonna go take this on a drive. If you haven't checked out a full tour and review, definitely go have a watch at that. But this is a pretty big car for Nissan. It's one of their most iconic vehicles, I would say. This two-row midsize SUV, and I think it's more luxuriously appointed with a lot of new tech features in this latest generation. And they've done some new things to the chassis and the powertrain. We have an all-new powertrain and suspension fronts to really enhance this Murano, even though it's not necessarily ground up new of a vehicle, but it's so much is new. It's basically a new car. So let's see what we have off the bat. So of course we have that new 2-liter VC turbo 4-cylinder engine under the hood. We have a 9-speed automatic gearbox now, no more continuously variable CVT, which is a great touch. We have this push button style shifter over here, and we have fantastic camera systems on this new Murano. So as you can see right here, we have a great crystal clear views of everything going on around the Murano. We even have this kind of virtual hood style function, so if you start moving, you'll see it's going to start painting like a picture of the vehicle underneath you, which is really cool as well. And there's also a 3D view around the Murano as well, which is a great touch. So lots of great camera views on this all-new Murano, so I really like that. Of course, we have parking sensors. We're getting our blind spot. We have our ProPilot assist systems as well. It's not the most advanced ProPilot assist that Nissan offers. That will be found on the Aria, and honestly the Rogue actually had a more advanced system, I believe, than this as well. But this is still pretty good. I'm not too sure why this didn't get the highest end features, though. Again, this is a pre-production vehicle at the end of the day, so some things may be a little bit different on the full production run cars. So let's pop it into drive. So all we have to do is press drive down here, and we're ready to go. We have this really cool new gauge cluster up here on the Murano. It's a fully digital cluster. We have maps in here, lots of different views. We can go to traditional circle views, but I actually prefer this kind of futuristic view here. Really nice new infotainment system over here with 64 colors for ambient lighting as well. So we can kind of go through all of these really cool color themes for our interior ambient lighting. We even have massaging front seats. Yes, in a Nissan Murano, we have massaging front seats that we can activate and deactivate on here as well as heated and ventilated front seats. So lots of luxury features here. Apple CarPlay as well, and we can even control Apple CarPlay via the steering wheel with this little knob over here. So you can see kind of controlling through it with the scroll wheel here, and I can bring it right back over here to control this screen over here. So lots of new things to get used to in this new Murano. But let's go head off on a drive. Now, we do have 3 drive modes on the Murano, so Eco, Standard, and Sport. I think Standard is the best all-around drive mode in the all-new Murano. It really blends, I think, the Sport and Eco modes pretty well. One thing you're going to notice right off the bat is it's really quiet in this new Murano, which I quite like. And this steering wheel is really nice, actually. It takes a little bit, I think, of getting used to since it's this one single spoke, but I really like it. It has a really nice feel to it. Now, you do have to sit kind of high in the Murano, as the steering wheel is kind of coming up at you a little bit, not really coming out of the dash. So that's one thing I definitely have to get used to in this car. But once you do sit high, find your driving position, it's very comfortable. We have these zero gravity foam seats that Nissan is famous for. Lots of glass all around you, which is really nice as well. And so off the bat, really nice here. So what has Nissan really changed under the skin of the Murano? Well, a lot. It's wider before, so we have wider tracks, around 2 inches, I think, in total, a little over 2 inches. So you can have a little bit more road presence actually in this new Murano, which is quite nice. A little bit more stable driving experience. We also have a new and revised steering system, so it's a little bit tighter than it was before, and I definitely noticed that from driving Muranos since the original one back from like 2003, 2004. It had a very soft, loose steering rack that I could almost drive with my pinky. This one definitely feels way more put together, a little bit more tighter. You definitely have a little bit more sense of what's happening with the body as well, which is quite nice. That also translates pretty well into this new suspension. The Murano is kind of known for this really soft, almost floaty-like, comfortable suspension for this 2-row midsize SUV lineup here, but now it's a little bit more on the stiffer side, I've noticed. Not too stiff where it's uncomfortable, but I think these 21-inch wheels combined with this new more taut body, taut suspension, taut chassis is translating into a little bit more bumps over some uneven pavement. But on the smooth paved road over here, this thing is really comfortable to drive around, I do have to say. Just on some more broken pavement, I think with these 21-inch wheels, like I mentioned, a little bit some bumps coming in here that I don't feel are too pleasant. and it makes a raspy noise from this VC turbo engine over here, which is definitely a unique thing. It's definitely different than the old V6s for sure. I'm not too sure how I like this powertrain as much. I'd be curious to see if they put the V6 with the 9-speed like they did in the Pathfinder. I wonder if people may like that a little bit more than this powertrain option here in the Murano, but hopefully they'll add some sort of hybrid or something down the road, because I think that would really benefit this kind of luxury nature that the Murano does offer. Otherwise, it's potent. You have a lot of torque, 260 pound-feet of torque. You definitely feel it, and having that 9-speed automatic gearbox is a lot more of a pleasant experience. Pop it into sport mode here. We're going to go around this exit corner, and we're going to see how the Murano handles itself in terms of body control. We have these new frequency selective dampers. They're kind of passive dampers in a way. They just work by themselves, but it definitely feels way more damping control has been done on this Murano than previous ones. You can definitely feel a lot more body control. It's a lot more stable and planted through corners, a lot less of lean. You can definitely feel that lean, but the body itself stays pretty planted through these corners, which is actually quite nice. I mean, it does feel like they worked a lot on that to give this Murano a little bit more of a more premium feel to it. A little bit of acceleration here. Yeah, this thing gets up and goes. You know, 0 to 60 obviously is not going to be too quick in these Muranos, but it definitely has plenty of punch to this powertrain. Not the most pleasant sound like I mentioned though, but otherwise pretty good. Now, one area where I'm not too fond of is on the fuel economy standpoint. It hasn't been doing too good this week. Now, if you do drive this vehicle in eco or standard mode and really just feather the accelerator pedal around town, you're going to get pretty decent fuel economy numbers. I would say maybe in the 25 to possibly 30 range, but typically in the city you're not going to be seeing that impressive fuel economy figures. Around 23, 24 mpg. On the highway you can kind of creep into those 25, 26 mpg numbers. I got 30 on one round, but we were just being very, very careful on that throttle, not really accelerating. So it isn't the most fuel efficient SUV out there, especially compared to the old V6 that this vehicle used to have. I would have liked to see that improved a little bit. Just for example, the EPA figure for the combined number is 23 for this, and the old V6 was the same. So I wish they could have improved that just a little bit more, but this new 9-speed is definitely a great overall enhancement in this new Murano. Now that we're out here on the highway, we're going to put our ProPilot Assist system to test. Now, like I mentioned, this is not the latest, most advanced ProPilot. Activate it pretty easily by just pressing this little blue button on our right hand side of the steering wheel. It's now primed. Press set and you are off and ready to go pretty easily out here on the highway. Not too bad. So we have lane centering assist. We also have our lane keep assist functions. We have blind spot. So we have a lot of our nice systems around us helping us out here on the highway, though we don't have that ability to take our hands off the steering wheel in certain scenarios. That was one feature that I really liked on the Nissan Ariya, and that one came with a little bit of a driver monitor here staring at your eyes to make sure you're always paying attention to allow that function. Not too sure why this Murano does not get it. I kind of consider it almost like Nissan's most flagship premium SUV, borderline Lexus, borderline Infiniti in that space, but hopefully they'll add that maybe in an update or something, but that's just one area I would like to see. And that also means it doesn't get the auto lane change assist the Ariya did come with. So if you're really going to want all those tech-packed features, you're going to want to go with the EV version almost of this car in that sense. Otherwise, this ProPilot Assist function is great on the highway in its own right. Pretty easy speed adjustment we have on here. Steering and lane keep assist work pretty well. I wouldn't put too much trust though in the system. I still think that higher end ProPilot Assist does a little bit better in terms of steering and lane keep assist. But this is the Murano's happy space, I think. Straight, paved, calm, smooth roads. And of course, we have the all-wheel drive system on this particular Murano. We can actually monitor it from our gauge cluster over here. We can see we are in pure front-wheel drive mode. So this vehicle with its intelligent all-wheel drive, there's no buttons or switches to really activate it in any which way. It kind of just detects when you need traction and will kind of distribute that power as such. So pretty much all the time it's in front-wheel drive to get the best fuel economy. Otherwise, you can get that traction sent to the rear wheels just a little bit to kind of help in some low traction scenarios, particularly off like a launch, for example. You're just getting up and going, it will use more power sent to the rear wheels. Otherwise, guys, you know, this has been a pretty nice week with the Murano. There are some areas, like I mentioned, where I'd like to see some better things going on, like in terms of the powertrain, and some more of this tech features that Nissan is already offering on some of their other vehicles. I would like to see that baked into this Murano here, but this is a great step forward. I think the Murano has kind of been the same for it felt like a decade. And this is a really nice, refreshing new take on the Murano in terms of technology, comfort, overall experience and design. It's really bringing it into the new modern area of Nissan here. So I think they did a great job in that aspect. We'll see how this kind of resonates with consumers, but I think this is a great choice over something like a Chevrolet Blazer, for example, or the aging Ford Edges. This two-row midsize SUV class still is pretty prominent, so there's still quite a bit of competitors to choose from, and I think this Murano is still a standout option in this space. As always, guys, thank you for watching Allcarnews, and make sure to subscribe and stay tuned for more coming soon. Cheers.